for the touch of your lips, dear, but much more.
I have a good sex life, not afraid to say that. I suppose I'm not the sort of person who's anything less than a good sex life.
In this day and age, people are having sex younger and younger. There's more and more sex on TV, in music.
Me and the guy making out on the rugby pitch.
Well, they're basically kinky besties at this point.
Some edge play includes blood, knives, needles, electro, fire, and consensual non-consent, all that sort of thing.
It's one of those things like, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of my sexuality. I'm not ashamed of the sex that I have. I enjoy it very much. I enjoy sex.
Well, I mean, the way that I see sex and consent is quite simple. Don't get some until you get some.
That's true. My life is a porn. I just don't film it.
That's why it's a flame with desire, which is why.
Welcome to the A-Slut Podcast with your host, Steel Claw. Now strap yourselves in and prepare for some sexy talk, some educational chat, and terrible jokes. And remember, let's get A-Slut. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the A-Slut Podcast, Season 2! Once again, I'm so excited to be back talking to you guys, and in what is now Season 2, my dog's looking at me real awkward because I'm talking to nothing, and it's gonna be a grand old time. Yeah, so not much happening for me. We're still in level 4 lockdown here in New Zealand, which means we can't do much. I'm still working, we're still going through all of that sort of stuff, but yeah, life is happening at the moment. Today I bring you an interview that I recorded back in August while I was in America once again, with the Gayish Podcast guys in Seattle. So yeah, it's a long one. I won't lie, it's a long road to get through for this. But it was actually really cool chat, really fun chat, and it really just flowed on. You know how sometimes you talk to someone and you have these awkward silences here and there, or a little bit all over the place, and that sort of thing. This was nothing like that. This one flowed all the way through. So yeah, really fun, really great guys. All of their links and stuff will be in the description for this tab. And don't forget to find me on the social medias at the A-Slut Podcast for everything, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. You can also find me at aslutpodcast.com, or you can email me at theaslutpodcast@gmail.com. I hope you enjoy this episode, and don't forget to say "Hey Slutty."
I will sing. Hey, and by the way,
whether to extend full civil rights protections to Hoosiers on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity.
Oh, P.S. I'm gay.
So we'll follow your lead, whatever you want us to do.
Yep, cool.
Wink.
Oh, that's a dangerous thing to say.
Wink.
I think we're going to start it there, actually. That's going to be my starting point.
Okay.
But no, welcome to the show. I have Kyle and Mike here from the Gayish Podcast.
Yeah.
I am currently in your dining room, living room.
My dining room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're sitting around a table. I've got a nice glass of red. It's courtesy of Mike, so I'm really, really happy about that. But thank you so much for this opportunity. Welcome to the show. First of all, just tell us a little bit about you guys. And by the way, this is a very professional setup compared to what I'm used to. So the people listening to this are going to be like, whoa, this sounds much better. Don't get used to it, guys.
Well, okay, before we talk about ourselves, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, so currently it is my birthday in New Zealand currently, but not in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking 2 birthdays.
Yeah.
It's got to be done.
One extended birthday.
Yeah. One of my friends even said, enjoy your 38-hour-long birthday from when he was. But thank you so much.
Yeah. Let's see. Who am I? This is Kyle. This is my voice. It's the less sexy one, so that's how you can remember it. I'm
not going to argue with you.
We've just been talking about how Mike has a very deep, sultry voice, and I'm like, "Hi guys." Okay. Anyway, we've been friends for like 70 years, and we are both gay, cis men. I'm sluttier than Mike, if we're gonna get to that. And we also both host the podcast Gayish, where we talk about gay stereotypes.
Awesome. I like the fact that there's that stereotypes, and what I like about you guys is you talk about which ones you fit into and which ones you don't as well, quite a bit, which is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And I know the people who listen to me are going to enjoy that sort of stuff, so I will leave a whole bunch of stuff in the notes for where you can find you guys, and we'll talk about that at the end of everything.
Sure, yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
Your turn.
My turn. I'm Mike. This is my voice, my apparently sexy voice. And Kyle and I have known each other for about 11 years, give or take. And
that's a big difference. 11 and 70.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm right.
Yeah, okay. All right. 70 dog years, I think, is about.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, gay years.
Yeah.
Every year you age when you're gay is like 7 years because less and less people are interested in you. It's a separate thing, but.
I'm a computer programmer, amateur musician, and podcaster.
That, to be fair, almost sounds like me, except for the whole computer part. I don't have a clue about that. But musician and amateur musician and terrible podcaster about sums me up as well.
What do you play? What's your music like?
What style or instruments?
All of the above.
Because instruments is a long list, but none of them very well.
Mm-hmm.
I started at piano when I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
Moved on to viola, French horn. Eventually did the whole rock thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was sort of my musical upbringing. I actually ran a business in the music industry in New Zealand for a while, bringing bands in from overseas.
That's cool.
And I was in a few bands that never did anything. So
yeah,
that about sums that up, really. What's your weapon of choice?
Piano. So the last Wednesday of every month, I play piano at a bar in Pike Place Market here in downtown Seattle. It's like live karaoke, sort of. So I have 2 mics, and if nobody wants to sing, then fine, I play and sing. And then if somebody wants to come up and try to do something, we'll give it a shot, even if it's terrible.
I played the piano growing up, but I was very much like, I took a long time to learn things, and then once I did, I like that's when I was okay at it. But it took me forever. And Mike can just sight read anything. Like someone walks up and is like, "Here, play this," and he just like goes to town. It's very impressive.
But the secret is, I'm not actually reading the music. I'm my education is actually in jazz. Before that, I played in country western bands. The first job I ever had for money was at 14, playing in my grandparents' country western band. And that is not a read music environment. That's a it's got 3 chords and it's in G. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so you learn. So I can read like a line or 2 at a time to sort of fill in the gaps, but for the most part, I'm just reading the chart.
And with pop music, it's not too difficult to to get through that.
Yeah, because follow the formula.
They barely even have 3 chords anymore. Let's be complete. There's a great video.
Axis of Awesome?
Yes, the 4-chord song.
Yes, the 4-chord song.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
think
good.
Mike has played that for me,
absolutely hilarious and scarily accurate as well.
Yeah. And Mike's family they are all, I've visited Mike's family over Easter, and they're insane and drunk, but they're also all really impressive musicians. And like someone will just walk up and be like, I'm going to do drums now. And they just play drums on the next song. And someone is going to walk up and just be like, I'm singing now. And they, like, it's just crazy. My family is not
I had a
at all
band like that actually. It was really fun. In the middle of a live gig, like we'd have different songs, had different people on different instruments. So we'd finish one song and literally just like musical chairs around and play different instruments. So fun.
You're so versed.
And you just you see the people in the crowd and they're sitting there going like, what the hell is happening here?
Yeah.
But you could tell the strengths and weaknesses of different people in the band, which made it even more funny for us because we're just sitting there going, I'm so bad at this. But it's so much fun. I scared a whole bunch of people. I was in Tombstone, Arizona a little while ago, and it was like, I think it was like Tuesday, Wednesday night or something, and they had a karaoke thing on, and I was like, I love karaoke. I'm a big fan of karaoke.
Yeah.
And I'm in a small country town, so I'm going to sing some country.
Yeah, sure.
And so I walk up there, and my voice isn't overly deep. My voice, you know, it is what it is. It doesn't have that country twang or anything like that. It's not southern. It's not anything. But I hopped up there and sung a couple of country songs, and you just see the like 10 people that were in the bar just all turn around and go, "What in the fuck is happening here?" Just some dude from New Zealand who's rocked up and started singing. They're all just going, oh, yeah, okay, sweet, yeah, sure, why not?
So here's a question: can you tell what part of New Zealand somebody's from based on their accent, the way that we can in the States?
A little bit. Yeah. So especially if you head to right at the bottom of New Zealand, they roll their R's quite a bit, which makes them quite conspicuous, I guess. Apart from that, not really. But I also didn't grow up in New Zealand. I grew up in Australia.
I was going to say, you sound Australian.
Yeah. I've got a bit of a mix, and it confuses a lot of people. But because of that, I can't really tell the difference between the rest of it. Just the real Southland sort of part of it. I'm a little bit further north of that. Thankfully.
I feel vindicated. We were listening to your show on the way home from a friend's house last night, and I said Australian, and then you said you were from New Zealand. I was like, I fucked it up again, but no.
No, you're all right now. You're all right now. Yeah, no, I'm just in that sort of weird little middle space. And the terrible thing about me is when I'm hanging around with people, I tend to sort of chameleon my voice, and I end up with that. I confused the crap out of some guy in Dallas because I started talking in like a full Texan thing, and he just went, "What the fuck?" Just that. It was so fun. I had a big Stetson on at the time as well.
Good job.
Had to be done.
You went all out.
Yeah. I even bought cowboy boots and everything. I've on the whole 9 yards in this.
I grew up in Houston. I have not worn my cowboy boots in quite some time, but I think just every now and then it's just kind of like. It's kind of nice.
Yeah,
wait, you own cowboy boots?
I do. You didn't know that?
Did I not know that?
For a while, until I spilled wine on my cowboy hat, I was a gay cowboy every Halloween.
Okay.
And
not cliche at all.
Nope. I was very original.
Everything.
I was the first one to come up with that idea. I was the original gay cowboy, but I'm not that confident, so I did not have like assless chaps. I just wore like glitter, like a glittery, what's it called, like thing,
waistcoat?
No, like a little
bolo tie.
Yeah, kind of, but it was like made of like sparkles.
Okay,
just like my soul.
I think I lost my soul a long time ago.
That's why we drink.
Debate if I ever had one.
But we're not ginger, so we must have a soul somewhere in there. It's just very, very difficult to find.
Deep down.
In the depths of somewhere. Let's not go too far into that yet. So, just so everybody knows, I had nothing planned for this. I've literally, like an hour and a half ago, got into Seattle. I've been driving almost non-stop for 2 days. It's been absolutely full on. But
you're coming in from Spokane, right?
Yeah. So that's about turned into a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
But we were in Yellowstone before that, which ended up being 14 hours by the time because we started at the southern base of Yellowstone and entered through that, and we drove all the way through and exited out the north, which was kind of amazing. But yeah, it was just one of those extra special things. But that's not where I was going. don't worry about going off topic because that's going to happen a whole bunch.
Thank God you said that because it was going to happen.
Yeah, people who listen to this are so used to me going off in 72 different tangents in about 60 seconds. So
great.
I took my ADD meds today, but that doesn't mean they're going to work.
They never work for me. It's fine. So I will start by talking about your podcast a little bit.
Sure.
So it's Gayish.
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
Yeah, so Mike and I both have always felt like we don't fit into people's stereotype of what gay people are like.
Right.
And even when I was looking for gay podcasts, there are a lot of different topics that I didn't really care about.
Right.
And so what we decided to do is we wanted to talk about those stereotypes and figure out, some things people fit into, other things people don't. We also try to bring like data around like is there some truth to stereotypes, and if so, like let's figure that out. But ultimately it was like we don't totally feel like we fit in with the expectation of a gay person, and so we talk about a different stereotype each episode.
The stereotype thing's interesting to me because the way that I was grew up didn't have the greatest family environment, and grandparents being grandparents are a little bit, let's say, racist, a little bit racist, and their big thing was stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that you're going through these different things and going, are they actually a stereotype? Are they actually a thing?
Yeah.
Not a stereotype because they are a stereotype.
Yeah.
But is it actually truthful? Is it not? And sort of delving into it from there, I think is really, really interesting and really, really clever as well. Because it's very easy to go, this is a thing and this is why, or this isn't why, but delving into it and actually exploring it, I think is really, really interesting. And that's sort of what I try and do when I'm doing my solo podcast, because I have the ones where I'm interviewing people like I am with you guys now and we're talking and whatnot, but I also have my solo ones where I talk about different topics and I try and go into depth with a lot of that. Like there's a lot of kink stuff. I'm still currently researching infidelity within polyamory. How that can affect people, because obviously there's the stereotype that you can't cheat in a polyamorous relationship, but
you sure can.
Yeah, absolutely can. Absolutely can. So it's really what are some of the stereotypes that you've sort of gone through? Just a brief.
Let's see. One that jumps to mind is drag queens. Like neither Mike or I listen to or watch RuPaul's Drag Race, and we had never. I think everyone assumes that all gay people do drag every weekend.
I'm really not a fan of that show.
Oh, really? I had watched it in the past and I liked it, but I don't know. I just didn't keep going with it. So Mike and I both tried drag to like go outside of our like what we're used to and actually try the stereotype. And Mike,
I was surprised that I
Mike
kind of
might
took to
be
it.
a secret drag queen. Like I think sometimes when we don't hang out on the weekends, I think I'm just guessing some Saturdays Mike is just looking at himself in the mirror in heels just to be like, I am beautiful.
To be fair though, heels make your calves look magnificent.
They really work. They just work everything, and then Mike's a 6'2" woman sometimes. So what else have we talked about?
I wouldn't mind being 6'2". I'm like 5'10". I'm short.
I'm 6'2.5" every single time I get measured, and I always wished I was a little bit shorter because everyone assumes that like just based on my height that I'm going to be a top, and then I start talking, they're like, oh, that might not be true, but like so sometimes I almost wish I was like a little bit smaller so that people would. Fuck me? I don't know. Wait, what other...
So people wouldn't come in with the stereotype that you
with
are
the
a top.
Assumption, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. We've talked about fisting before. That's not a thing that I have ever been interested in or participated in. But
it seems like a lot of effort. Like it's just...
I swear, like it must take about a year to be able to get up to the level that you can be fisted anyway.
Yeah.
Like, because you're not just going to go in there first time and be like, Which, unfortunately, a lot of young males think that now because of porn.
Yeah.
And they're just like, this is a normal thing, and then broken wherever they've put it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's something, like, porn also gives us so many expectations, especially gay porn. When you're gay and aren't able to be out, and porn might be your only conduit to the gay community at first, which is real fucked up if that's true, because then you're like, oh, like my dick is not 9.5 inches, and like, oh, someone should just be able to like stick it right in, and like all those expectations, and it's like that messes you up.
Yeah, and it's the exact same thing for even straight porn, or my big one is kink porn, because that's my background is from kink and whatnot, so I'm very well versed in what it takes to do different things. Yeah. And things like 50 Shades and all of that sort of stuff actually ruined so many people. It fucked up so many people because they're like, that's what it is. And you're like, it has nothing to do with what it is.
Yeah.
You've seen some actions, you want to go try it. What about your aftercare? What about your I can't think of the word now. You have to talk about what's going to happen.
Communication.
Yeah. Like
consent. I can't think of it. When two people come to an agreement.
Contract, boundaries,
setting expectations.
I think we've said everything but the word I'm thinking of. But the fact is, the matter, people are going to know what I'm talking about. Is making sure that everybody's on the same page.
Which you don't see that, like you miss those parts in porn where there's like
there's a couple of sites that do it, and it does the video beforehand, and it interviews just the actress, and sometimes the actor as well. Is these are the things that might happen? Are you okay with that? And I'm just like, yes. Like, it's not a full thing, but it's still something to say that this is what you need to do before you engage in these sorts of activities, and that makes me really, really happy to see that's even if it's just a little bit, it's still something in there to say, this is all the stuff that could go wrong. Are you okay, and do you accept these parameters, these terms?
That makes sense. We also talked about pedophiles, which that's like a very, unfortunately, still like appears as a stereotype that gay people are pedophiles.
You can almost completely blame the Catholic Church for that, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if we're talking pedophiles, like, is it gay people or is it straight religious people that are pedophiles? And but
I saw another picture. Facebook's my big thing. I'm on it far too often, if I'm completely honest. But I came across a saying that was, lesbians look at females when they're wearing skimpy clothing and they don't touch them or anything like that. Is it really the clothes that's the problem? And it's the same sort of thing. It's the people involved that are the problem, not what sexuality they are, not who they are, not anything like that, not what anybody else is doing. It's literally them as a person.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things that I've seen, which I'm sure plenty of people have seen this as well, is straight men absolutely understand the idea of consent when they walk into a gay bar.
Yeah.
It's like, it's always like, well, where's the line? What am I allowed to do? And then you walk into a gay bar and get your ass slapped, and you're like, oh, hold on, that doesn't feel great. Like,
another great point on that is homophobia is what a straight man feels when he is treated the way that he treats a woman.
Absolutely. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. And that it's actually quite terrifying how straight men don't realize that, because I'm not straight. I go both ways. I'm what one would call greedy, I guess.
Well, you identify as bisexual,
yes,
or pansexual, or do you put a label on it?
I don't really. I say that I'm bisexual, but I'll sleep with anyone.
Okay.
I'm aesthetically, if they look good. Yeah. Aesthetically inclined is the way that I put it. If they look good, I'll try and sleep with it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Like an omnisexual.
Oh.
You might have sex on me? No.
on me sexual? Like, lay down. I'm going to fuck someone on you. Don't move. My bed broke, and you're the next best alternative.
I've done that. What? It was a kink thing. So I had a submissive, and they had been misbehaving all day, so I used them as a bed too. That was their punishment, so they had to watch what was happening as well.
Wow, that's sexy.
It was all consensual, of course, and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of those things that she had to watch me fucking someone else, and that was her punishment.
Man,
wow,
makes you want to be bad,
right? It didn't work as a punishment.
Yeah, I have some voyeuristic tendencies that would work for me.
Be like punishing my dog with treats. Like it doesn't. Don't bite that dog. Here's a bone.
Here's a bone. And there's actually been some studies in the fact that like treat giving doesn't work for training dogs.
What?
Because they'll only do it if they get that treat from that point on.
Oh, see, I know that's why everyone. I have a dog. He's the best. And like that's why they tried to do the clicker thing as like you associate the click with the treat. I also like
Pavlov.
Yeah, exactly. And what I figured is, or learned that is like, if I hold when I hold my fingers together as if I had a treat, sometimes I do, a lot of times I don't. He knows that's the like, I might get a treat if I do this. Yeah. So he definitely does it.
Yeah.
He's definitely a
dogs
bottom.
are clever.
He's
real smart.
Very smart and probably a bottom because he's super submissive.
Except he humps everything all the time.
That's true. He's definitely verse because sometimes and it's not all dogs. But
my dog, anything that it didn't even have to move. Actually, I was going to say anything that moved, but no, just anything that wasn't me.
Well, that's good.
And that's purely because I was able to train that out of him. But anybody knew.
We're gonna hump. Here we go.
Pretty much. Male dogs, female. He did not give a shit.
My favorite is
He was definitely a top though. Definitely a top. My boy was.
It's so weird that, and maybe this is the idea that we should have of like he acts so submissive and so beta dog, but then like when he finds a dog he likes, man. And it's my favorite thing is when. I mean, it's a little bit uncomfortable at the dog park when I like have to be like, sorry, everybody, he's been fucking everyone. But like he'll start humping and then the other dog will leave and he's still just humping, like going for it in the air with nothing under him, which
I absolutely love this because my dog started humping things real early when he was around. He's passed away now, but when he started humping anything good, and he would just he got with a dog, tried to go and hump it, and just nothing. Could not get anywhere near it, and he's just humping it. I'm going, buddy, you've got a lot to learn. You've got a lot to learn about all of this. A long way to go.
Learn something about consent, boundaries.
No, he was never going to learn anything about that. That's
neither
for
will
sure.
My dog.
Cool. So, dog chat. Great.
Oh, right.
Where were we before we went on to that?
I don't know.
No one has a clue. So let's keep moving on. So, from what I know about Washington State, it's quite an open, sort of accepting state, comparatively speaking, when you compare it to, I don't even want to say Alabama, but Alabama.
Although you do have to be careful. The part of Washington that you drove through today, Eastern Washington, everything up to the mountain summit is red. It's Trump country.
Right.
It's quite conservative. Once you get west of the mountains, it's blue liberal as all get out.
Yeah,
so,
which is cool. So, did you grow up here?
I grew up in Eastern Washington.
Eastern Washington.
And I went to school in Spokane.
Okay.
And then
so that's the red side.
Yes, sir.
And you're from Houston.
From Texas, from Houston,
which is I can't imagine is a great place to grow up.
Yeah, no.
Did you know young that you were gay? Or
it's one of those things that like in retrospect, like there are all these signs that yes, I was gay, but at the same time, like a big moment for me was when I was talking to my dad, and he definitely had suspicions, but also didn't want to
come out and say it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so what we had was this weird roundabout conversation where he was like, when I was a kid, I would explore things, and I snuck into an X-rated movie once with my friends to see, and that's fine. You'll explore things, and like kind of implying that like. He didn't say it was
your dad saying go bang dudes for a while and see if you like it?
No, he was trying. I think he was trying to relate it as much as he could to himself, which was like, oh, I watched porn with men and women or something. Like, I think that's the most he could connect with it, and he was trying to say like, that's fine, but you'll grow out of it. And so that pushed like that. Overcoming that was my biggest hurdle. Overcoming that conversation and being like, oh, like, yeah, pretty soon I'll be normal and fine. And like, eventually I was like, oh, this is not changing. And so, yeah, it was my sophomore year of college when I finally came out.
That means nothing to me.
Oh,
what age is that?
What age is that? 20.
Sophomore?
20-ish.
I mean, you're 18 when you graduate high school, so it'd be your second year of college. You're 19, 20.
Yeah, the whole freshman... No idea.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Like we have year 1 to 13 and then university.
No.
That's how it works for us.
This would be second year of university. Then.
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, and then I think.
So did you go to university in Texas as well? Is this when this is all?
I went to So I grew up in Houston, then went to school in Austin, and that was just like an amazing place where I could be like, because Austin is like the one like liberal part within Texas.
See, I just thought all of Texas.
That fair, but you never hear about Texas like, oh, a really cool progressive thing happened. It's always like something with guns and whatever. But yeah.
Austin's a little island of blue in that sea of red. Although it's kind of a purpley blue. Like it's not like
no, it's blue. It's very blue.
It's super liberal for Texas.
It's super liberal.
Okay.
Period. That uptick in my voice was just my manner of speaking. That's a period at the end of that. It's very liberal. I mean, in a Texas. Okay, this is what you're saying. In a Texas way that like it's cool if you're whatever, including you can be. Well, I don't know about now when being Republican wasn't as frowned upon until recently, but like you could still be conservative and be chill about it, and that was fine in Texas. But it was a very good like almost like stepping stone for me into like going from conservative growing up conservative Texas to liberal Texas, and then I could go elsewhere in like kind of adjust to like, okay, I want to be in a more liberal city that is smart.
There's this huge problem. Like the polarization of this country has made things so miserable for people. I think that they then uproot and move to where things don't suck for them politically. Yeah. So there's this drain of, the West Coast and the Northeast are getting all of the liberal people because they just can't handle it.
Yeah.
And it metastasizes those beliefs on both sides, right? Like they don't have to interact with each other then.
It almost seems like it's heading for another civil war kind of situation because you're getting large groups in these different areas that eventually something's going to snap, especially if we keep who in charge.
God help us.
Let's nuke the hurricanes.
And when you have people, it definitely feels like that sometimes because when you have this group of people that are so unwavering and steadfast in, if anyone else said that they would nuke hurricanes, you'd be like, oh, you're a fucking idiot, we're out. But to have so many people that are so staunchly, you can say whatever you want and we will defend you. Like, it's like, how do
He's
you
on the side of the Brazilian president.
He's on the side of
Bolsonaro.
He's on the side of Russia. He's
that's the one that's really killed me recently. Is this whole Brazilian thing because of the fire
Amazon,
down there?
Yeah.
And it's happened just after the native people won a court case to protect their land. Conspiracy theory in there? Why not? And then this all happened, and like he got offered a whole bunch of money, the Brazilian president, to try and fix it all, and he turned it down.
Yeah. And
you just sit there and go, okay. Surely something here is obviously not right, but
well, so I don't know what your show is like, so I apologize, but I guess I don't really because I stand by what I'm about to say.
You're fine.
I look at the way that the right treats Trump, and I don't think it's a surprise that conservatives tend to be religious. The whole idea in religion that God and your priest say this, and that's just true. You can't question it. If you do, you're going to get drummed out of the religion, and that means eternal damnation. Like hyper-religious people are primed to not question things, to just fucking accept whatever they're fucking told. Can we say the fuck?
Yeah. Fucking hell, we can. I couldn't live without asking questions.
Right.
I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I have to question. I'm one of those annoying people that if I don't know something, I will ask as many questions as I can until I can fucking understand what's happening. Otherwise, I'll just does my head in. I don't get it.
Yeah. I didn't realize until my last job that was like a skill that not everyone had of asking, like, if I don't understand it, I'm going to keep poking and prodding because some people can just give these surface level answers and it's like as a way of deflection or just like, if you accept that and don't really like uncover the like something where you truly understand, it's like, what do you? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. That
part of that is why I've been through so many jobs in my life as well, because I've rotated a lot through my life when it comes to work and whatnot, and it's purely because I'll ask a question as to why do we do it this way instead of this way, and I can't get an answer out of it, and I'll sit there and go, why can't you give me an answer?
Yeah. Yep.
And I'll keep pushing it, and then I'm a difficult employee from that
Right.
point because I'm trying to figure out why we do it a certain way when there's another way that's far more efficient or costs less money or whatever the thing may be.
Yeah.
I've had a decent career, and over and over and over again, I've gotten myself into really serious trouble and sticky situations because I never accept, doesn't matter what your title is, because I said so as an answer.
I can't stand that.
Ever. And I'll fucking say it to the CEO if I need to.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really... Don't do that if you can avoid it, kids. Like, sometimes smiling and nodding and fucking doing it is the right answer for happiness. But,
See, I'll start off like that. But if I see a way that a company can improve, and I go and take it to somebody and go, and I've got to be honest, it's not usually the CEOs. The CEOs are usually pretty decent from what I've done. It's the middle management who feel attacked by the way that you're doing it because you're attacking something that they've implemented themselves and gone, we can do this better. And they go, no, we've done it this way for 20 years. And you sit there and go, what the fuck are you talking about?
yeah.
The fact that we have been doing it for 20 years tells me that it needs to be fucking changed.
Yeah. Yep.
And that makes sense why you do this podcast then, because you're questioning why we think of a lot of things in society the way we do and why we think of sex the way we do and reevaluating it.
And, well, the big thing about even, like, looking at sex and what people don't talk about it nearly enough.
Yeah.
Like, girls do. Girls will talk about sex all the time. Guys don't realize that. Yeah, guys do not realize that if you have sex with you, they're gone and they're telling their 8 mates how it was and how you were as a person as well. There's no two ways about it. Dudes generally don't.
Yeah.
Especially straight men.
Yeah.
And the reason for this is, and I've sort of done a little bit of research around it, is that guys think they're in competition with each other to be able to get laid. Instead of working together and sharing tips to get everybody laid, they're like, this is about me getting laid and not that person.
Why? I was trying to like figure out where gays fit into the picture. Cause like if you send a dick pic to a gay, you are sending it to their closest friends as well.
Yeah.
Because like, it'd be like, oh, here, I hooked up with this guy. Here's his dick. here's what we did specifically. Like,
yeah.
So like, yeah, we share notes, but we're also a little bit in competition with each other. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a competition.
Yeah.
I don't view...
I mean, it shouldn't be, but I definitely think
I think
that's
that
how it's viewed.
We're still socialized the same way.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a competitive streak that has to be checked for most men. Maybe not for you.
No,
but
I'll agree with that. I have to check that quite a bit myself. I'll sit there and go, like, if there's another guy and there's me and we're both, you know, periodically talking to the same girl throughout the night, it's her decision at the end of the day.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and badmouth this other guy because I want the girl. What's the point in that? It makes you look like an ass, for starters. And even if you get the girl, she's going to go, oh, but this other guy, he was bad-mouthing in the whole... Like, there's no point in it.
And then you're like, 3 ways. Let's all get down.
Yes!
Then why not?
Exactly. And that's the optimum... that's the ultimate
If
answer
you
to
can
the night there.
bring that assertiveness and competition to sex, ooh, man, that makes it great for everyone.
No comment. I've never done that before in my life.
I want if 2 people are fucking me, I want them to be in competition over it.
I'm trying to figure out if that would work for me or not. I've never done anything even remotely close to that, and I don't know if I would find it hot or not. My sex life is super vanilla. I'm super sheltered, and
I'm at the complete opposite end of the table. I'm not gonna lie. I had a big orgy in San Antonio just a couple of weeks ago.
Nice. How do you like seek out, like, let me find the orgy spot, or does it like just happen, or like I've had different experiences with this, but
so this was at a swingers event that I was invited to, just because I was in town and there happened to be something on, and some people I knew were in San Antonio, so they invited me along, and it just sort of went from there. I also had another one for my birthday. I know it's my birthday now, but it was a week ago in Albuquerque.
Birthday orgy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had because I was teaching a class. I was teaching a class around electroplay and that sort of thing, which was really, really cool. And then the host of that class went and threw a birthday party for me, which just happened to include a lot of the same sort of people. So it all just turned into a big orgy in a rumpus room, I guess, a games room. It was really, really fun, really lovely. It's a great birthday present, along with an ice cream cake that I was able to eat off.
Wait, is that a metaphor or
no,
literal? No. Okay.
A little ice cream.
I don't know if that was like a sex act.
No.
Something about frosting. I don't know. Okay.
But there was a sex act involved because I got to eat it off the nipple of a lovely woman.
Oh.
So it worked out really, really well.
Happy birthday.
Pretty much, yeah. It was really, really fantastic. But we've gone off topic again. Again.
Yes,
I want
Washington State is very liberal.
That's where we came from with all of this.
I wanted credit for bringing it back to your podcast. I was trying to keep us on topic.
Oh,
I did my best.
You did okay.
Thanks, Mike. I aim to do pretty
Honestly,
good.
don't even try all the time.
Okay,
It's just going to become its own thing.
I'm done trying.
So when did you move to Washington?
I moved right after college, so like
2008.
Thanks, Mike.
Now everybody's going to work out how old he is.
Oh, yeah. I'm 26. No, I'm
+8.
I'm 33. That's
right.
my real age. So yeah, I've been here for a while. I didn't plan on staying in Seattle for this long, but I came here.
You liked it?
I was like, I guess I'm staying here. So,
yeah. Was like what we talked about with Washington being majority blue state? Was that part of the reasoning to come here?
Yeah, I absolutely wanted to get out of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
understandable.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons, including the weather.
Oh my God!
And
freaking Houston killed me.
Yeah,
it actually killed me because it was like 105 degrees and like 80% humidity.
It is.
And like, I'm not a small guy. I've actually lost weight since I've been in the States. Don't ask me how I've managed that. But I got here and I was 258. I'm now 244.
Wow.
I mean, like, yeah, the Houston humidity is like, might as well be in a sweatbox.
So I was like a big guy, weight-wise, relatively, and I was just going through Houston, and I'd literally take like 2 steps, and I'd just drenched in sweat, and it's the most disgusting feeling. And there's nothing worse than trying to hit on somebody while you're just sitting there in buckets of sweat, and it's just...
The worst was Houston was worse, but in Austin, I would... At the end of my college, I was doing interviews for full-time jobs and have to go places in a suit.
In a suit, yeah.
And I would be walking, like it'd be in the middle of summer, walking somewhere in a suit onto campus and have to like, it was disgusting.
I do have to say for the rest of the world that's not America, 115 is about 40 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
40 degrees for normal people.
Oh, okay.
None of your systems make sense.
It doesn't make sense to us either, so it's fine.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Why 1,000 meters, a kilometer? Simple. How many yards are in a freaking mile? I've got no idea.
1,300 and something.
So, there's my point exactly.
It's 5,280 feet. What's 5,280 over 3?
See, none of this makes sense. It's stupid. It's
none of it makes sense.
It's like what you call football. Do you know what you guys call football? Do you know what I call it?
We don't use our feet for football.
I know.
American football.
I know. Do you know what I call it?
What?
Hand egg.
Yeah.
Use your hands with an egg.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to us either, and we recognize that the metric system makes far more sense, but we're too stubborn in America to ever think about trying to change.
Thank God our scientists are like, they fucking got on board because the metric system's way better for science.
Yeah.
The only thing that New Zealand doesn't use the metric system for is weed. Weed.
Oh.
Literally. Like we'll buy an ounce or we'll buy half an ounce or whatever.
Okay.
But no,
that's
the only thing.
Why weed?
Huh. So I'm woefully ignorant about New Zealand's history, and there's clearly
most people in America. Most people don't believe we're a country.
Oh,
I at least know that. I have a Texas education, but I at least know part.
I flew through Auckland once, so I'm an expert.
Okay, no, Auckland is not New Zealand.
Okay,
Auckland's a whole different thing. We don't ask anybody who's not from Auckland. It's not part of New Zealand.
Okay.
If you ask people from Auckland, it's all of New Zealand.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah. But there's the former British colony, I assume.
Yep. Still part of the Commonwealth.
Okay.
Like Canada is.
Yeah.
Still technically ruled by the Queen.
Yeah.
But we have our own government.
Just like Boris Johnson's Parliament.
So Trump 2.0. My God. Have you actually listened to that man talk about anything?
I've just seen him on the zip line.
Wait, Boris Johnson or Trump?
Boris Johnson.
Oh, no.
He is a bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, watching him talk is...
Yeah.
Even British people need subtitles to understand it. Genuinely, not a clue.
So
what?
The reason I ask is because I noticed in Australia when I visited, my ex-wife and I went for most of the month of December one year, and there were all of these very British things like that were retained.
Yeah.
Right? And it made me wonder if that's true for New Zealand also, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. So Dunedin, which is the second biggest city on the South Island, is literally if you get Edinburgh in Scotland and make it slightly smaller, you get Dunedin.
Okay.
It's literally the buildings are modelled on the same thing. The whole layout's modelled the same as Edinburgh. Even where I'm from is Christchurch. So
yeah.
it's all based on the Christian faith that had been brought over by then. Even a lot of our buildings, well, not in Christchurch anymore because we had an earthquake a couple of years ago and it's all... but yeah, it's very still a lot of things that are relatively similar.
Do you measure weight in stone?
No.
That doesn't make any sense to you then?
No, I don't get that either.
Americans are stymied by that.
No.
And, but I think I heard some Aussies say stone but I don't know.
Aussies do sometimes.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of that growing up. I never understood it. I think it's more the older generation that do that because they've still got that British influence, I guess, for lack of a better term. I've never used anything but kilograms. And
do you celebrate Boxing Day?
Yes.
We do not.
What?
We don't celebrate Boxing Day.
I celebrate watching UFC. It's the most homoerotic sport I've ever seen.
I went and watched that live in New York in 2017.
In Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, Madison Square Garden.
Great.
Was it very sexual?
It was magnificent. It was magnificent. It just reminds me, I don't know if you've ever heard of Ultimate Submission.
No.
Which is like a porn site where they wrestle, I use that in air quotes.
Oh!
And the winner then fucks the loser.
Yeah. I have.
Wow.
It's really, really, really nice.
I have seen either that or something like that.
Yeah, so there's the lesbian version and there's the gay version. And it's
Lesbian Ultimate Submission.
Yeah.
I have to watch this now just for science reasons.
I have to watch it to jerk off. I don't. Mine's the other reason. I mean, but I can't picture myself in that because I'd just be like, oh no, I lost.
That's kind of what happens in it anyway.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I'd have to like fake putting up a fight. Just
that I don't think that much of the fighting is not scripted.
That makes sense.
I think it's all, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And this is, because I mean, it all has to be consensual still at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So they have to organize everything beforehand and it all
someone's got to clean out.
Kyle, was it you that was saying though that you like a good bruising? Like you, like the next day when you feel a bruise happening, you're like,
that's the best when you like you find that you have like either bruises or bite marks or what have you left over. I mean, not visible like above your like in your face or neck or whatever, but like in the rest of your body, so it's like your own.
I'm
secret.
damn good at giving bruises. I've got a lot of implements back home that can do that.
Implements? Yeah. I don't usually use implements
no, you can
for
use
bruising. I mean, I'm
can.
sure. I'm sure you can. I usually don't. Usually, it's
one of my big ones actually is pressure points. I like using pressure points, and you can get bruises on pressure points quite easily. There's a really good one in your bicep that you can push down on and it bruises really nicely and it comes up with just a nice big purple spot in there. I'm big on anatomy purely so I can inflict pain on people sometimes. That's just part of...
It's like a sexual scientist.
Yeah. I like that. But it's just one of those things where if you can find... And things like that, I'm very big on dominance in public. For example,
Okay.
So doing things, but things that most people wouldn't realize are happening. So that's one of those things. There's a great one in your wrist, so it looks like you're holding hands, but you're actually pushing down on a pressure point in the wrist, or a hand around the back of the neck, or something like that. Just little things that look innocent, look completely innocent, but between the two people that it's happening with, it's a whole different thing, and that for me is quite delicious.
I once blew someone in the alley of a in Europe. Does that count?
Yes.
It's a really subtle sign that I was into them. You couldn't really tell unless you looked really hard.
And I bet they were.
So we both enjoyed it. I was going to say it worked. That's a way of saying they came, but that felt weird.
So anyway,
Oh yeah, I moved to Seattle.
Yep.
What? No, I don't know.
Was there an actual coming out point for you? Was that after you moved, or was that in Austin?
That was in Austin. Yeah, and it was. It's funny we talk about this of like, there is kind of the initial what everyone thinks of and describes as the coming out. Like, so I came out to my close friends first, and then had to do the whole parent thing, and all that. But then, but coming out is a continuous process. We have to like, every time you meet someone new, you have to decide:
are you going to tell them or not?
Are you going to tell them? Does it make sense? And I am an overthinker, so I have to be like, would I have said this normally? And or am I trying? Like, I often find myself holding back on saying something like, I don't have one now, but like, oh, my boyfriend and I something like, sometimes I'll like hold back on that.
My partner and I play the pronoun game.
I don't like. Okay, well, partner feels too. I have lots of rules around relationships. Partner feels very serious to me, and I'm not always ready for that.
Understandable.
But yeah. So it is. I kind of had that big coming out moment that everyone thinks of around 20, and then it just always happens.
Sort of went from there. Yeah. Was there any backlash at that point? Did you get much backlash?
Well, all my friends totally fine. There's one friend who I like dated in high school, so she had a hard time with it because she was like, what did that actually mean?
Right.
If now you're gay. But otherwise, my parents had the hardest time with it. It's weird because everyone assumes that it's religion that causes like most of those issues, it does. My parents did not raise me religious at all. So religion wasn't the issue with them. They just didn't understand it, thought it was gross, and didn't have the word. Didn't want to say that, of course. And so there was a point when I first came out where they just came to the decision of, well, we are going to drift apart, and eventually we won't be in each other's lives. That was
basically what it came down to.
They didn't have any other. They didn't know how else to deal with it.
They didn't have any other coping mechanism
exactly
for that sort of news.
Because they were like, we don't want to hear about you being gay, so that means we'll hear less and less about your life until we just don't talk anymore. And luckily that didn't end up happening.
Well, that's good.
So yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, they got to a place where when I had my first, I did avoid talking about it for a long time, and when I got my first serious boyfriend, I said that to my mom like very nervously on the phone of like, I talked about him, and she had come a lot further than I expected.
That's
and
cool. That's really
was interested and asked questions, and I was like, oh wow, like this is that changed everything from then on.
That's really nice to hear, because you do hear some horror stories about young men especially, but it does happen with women when they come out as gay as well. That their parents just literally just throw them out on the street, and that's it, and you just sort of sit there and you sort of count yourself lucky, I guess. Being able to continue that. I do feel fortunate that my parents always had the baseline of they love me, and they paid for my college, which they kept doing, that's cool. But homeless people are especially homeless youth are overwhelmingly LGBT, so it's still an issue, and it's one of those things that like you say your love is unconditional, but you have to prove it. Like, and a lot of people's love is actually conditional. Yeah, and it's conditional on you not being gay. Yeah, absolutely. Because I never had a coming out moment for being bi. I guess it was all just an online thing. I just shared what I liked on Facebook and stuff, and people clued on.
They just kind of figured it out that way.
Yeah. And that was it. And I didn't actually say, hey, I'm bi or I'm pan or I'll sleep with anything.
Yeah.
It just sort of
on me sexual.
It just sort of happened that way, and I have never met my father, so that wasn't an issue. My mum's absolutely fine with everything. I mean, she doesn't live in New Zealand anymore. She's in China, so it doesn't really matter anyway. We still talk, and it's cool. But I feel very, very lucky that I was able to do that. And I'm also very lucky that New Zealand in general is quite a forward-thinking country in general. Even just last year, we put through a law that victims of domestic violence can get 90 days paid leave from work.
Oh, wow.
While they recover.
We barely give pregnant women not much time in our country. So.
Exactly. So like things like that, and
that's awesome.
It's not directly linked to like LGBT or anything like that, but it shows that we care about our people just a little bit more. And
yeah, it's like treating people like humans and what do they need.
We've had the first Prime Minister to give birth, or first leader of a country to give birth while in office.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, your Prime Minister also, at least here, got a bunch of press for the way that she handled the gun control crisis recently. I'm curious, as an insider, what your view of her is, because we have a very filtered view here.
New Zealand's actually kind of quite similar, and there's a big dichotomy. There's people who like her, and there's people that don't like her. I think she's fantastic. I think she's trying her hardest to try and recover from our previous government and trying to help the people from what our previous government has done. There's I was reading actually just today that we're putting money towards kids' lunches in schools that can't eat, and it's a friend of mine who was actually nominated for a New Zealander of the Year award. Used to have a thing where you buy one lunch and he would give 2 lunches to kids in schools who couldn't eat. So that's something that I'm really, really proud of at the moment, is that we're trying to help our people more than anything else. It's not so much about stuffing money into big corporations, which it has been. Our previous Prime Minister before this was John Key, and I can't stand this man. He's made his money on Wall Street.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is not really a good start. And he just he sold off a whole bunch of state assets when he was in power, and we're still trying to recover from that as well. And then he became one of the chairmen on ANZ Bank. Okay. So he's a banker as well, just to top it all off. And he's gotten into a whole bunch of trouble again recently for stuff that he's done in charge of that. So I think she's been given a really, really difficult job, Jacinda, and I think she's doing her best to try and recover from everything. So I couldn't be happier with her, really. The whole gun reform thing was such an amazing turnaround. So if anybody doesn't know, we how long ago? 2 months, maybe a little bit more than that ago, we had a mass shooting in Christchurch, a right-wing racist Nazi nut job. Shot up a couple of mosques, killed 51 people, and basically it took us a week to completely change our gun laws, completely change them, and we're currently going through a buyback scheme. So that people aren't losing money on the guns that they've purchased legally before the law change, and we're actually buying them back so that our military and whatnot can use. Which I think, you don't have to do that.
Right.
The government doesn't have to sit there and go, we're going to buy these back. They're illegal now. You have to get rid of them yourselves.
Yeah.
They've actually, again, tried to help out people by going. And it's usually the farmers and things like that who need them for pests and whatnot. And it's like, I just think that's really, really cool. And she's done an awesome job on that.
Yeah.
I was changing my medication. So that's part of the context of this. But when I was reading about her response to the shooting, I was sobbing because I thought it was just so touching. And then later I cried about recycling, but so I was in a bit of an odd state. But yeah, it's just so beautiful to see. Extremely horrible situation, but so beautiful to see the response to that of let's fix shit. Let's be compassionate. Let's care about people. Let's worry about others' lives. I don't know why that's such a hard thing for us to do
because
here in America.
The fundamental flaw of American culture is, doesn't it bother me? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? The rugged individualism that is the American cowboy horseshit of don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Don't tread on me, whatever.
Yeah.
It's antisocial is what it is. And it really sucks because...
And even in addition to that, there was over $100 million that were raised for the victims as well.
Yeah.
Over $100 million that were raised for the victims of that. And so, to look at the other side of the people who don't like her, she's recently, over the last couple of days, gone to a conference for young Islamic women to become leaders and sort of pay the way for politics. And she wore a hijab, but she didn't cover her entire hair, which is actually okay. A lot of people who are a little bit ignorant thought that wasn't okay, and she's being disrespectful, and that she could get killed in Iran for that. And you just sit there and go, and it was the fact that she wanted to bring through young Muslim women in as leaders, which is empowering women, great thing. Disgusting for some people, and I doesn't compute in my brain how bring through. Why does it matter what their religion is? Or I'm not a fan of religion. I genuinely dislike it, but I don't dislike a person because of their religion. I don't think they should be treated any differently because they have religion.
Sure.
And all I saw from this was she's trying to bring young women into politics.
Yeah.
A great thing.
Yeah.
Great thing. But there's a lot of people who can't handle that.
It's interesting because the people that would jump in her shit for not covering her hair all the way up are probably the same people that hate Islam to begin with.
Yep.
Which it's interesting that they're like,
Yeah.
how dare you violate the norms of this religion I hate?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's just, one of those things.
Sure. Yeah.
Again. So we've gone through Kyle's story.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Guess whose turn that makes it now?
Great.
Yeah, mine is the boring one, so let's get into the interesting stuff.
Let's get juicy.
Oh, God. Okay, where do you want to start?
At the start?
At the start?
In the butt.
I was born in 1978 on a winter's
off.
day.
Do you want me to do this? Hey, it's me, Mike. Let me tell you about everything that I've done.
Oh, God.
Mike came out literally 10 years after me.
Yeah.
Like in age.
I came out at 30.
Yeah, so it's...
So I've been married twice, once to a woman, once to a man. Neither one worked out. Don't know what I'm going to do next. As far as what I'm going to marry. Kyle has like 100 different phases to his like relationship status. Mine seems to go meet, coffee, I love you, marriage. Like it's very fast.
Right.
And anyway.
Mine is like, I meet you, we go on a date, then we're dating, then we're we're hanging out, then we're dating, then we can like be in a relationship. It's just like a multi-phased
So I'm more on that side as well.
Like someone I'm texting with someone and he called me babe and I was like, whoa, you don't owe me. Like
any future suitors for Kyle that are interested in Kyle, do not send heart emojis too early. That's disqualifying.
We've been on one date. There's no room for hearts. Heart means love, and I don't love you. Like anyway.
See, the emoji thing I can understand. Pet names I will use straight away. Because I use pet names for my friends.
Okay.
Like my travel buddy who gets babe, darling, anything like that. It's just how I am. But the heart emoji thing, I'm 100% with you on that. That will freak the shit out of me.
Too much. Sorry, Mike. This is about you.
No,
your troubled history of relationships.
I grew up in conservative Eastern Washington in a Catholic family, and
great start.
My dad was a cop. I'm the oldest of 3 boys, and I knew that I was gay from my teenage years and desperately wanted not to be. Did everything in my power to control it.
As you kind of would in a red area.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to be the odd one out and get teased and ridiculed and beaten up, especially.
Yep, absolutely. And I very much wanted to have the white picket fence and kids dream life, and in my fantasies about that included being with a woman, even though I wasn't particularly interested in them sexually. I got married to a woman who was an absolute cunt, and but that's because that's what I wanted from her deep down inside. It's taken a lot of therapy for me to get here, but I wanted to be treated badly. I wanted somebody that would punish me for being gay and keep it under control for me, and she did.
You're starting to get into my territory.
This is in a little bit worse, not as sexually exciting way,
no.
more emotionally damaging way than I am.
She and I got married in 2004. We moved here to Seattle, and I like to say that Seattle made me gay because, unlike other parts of the state, here on the liberal west side of the mountains, I ran into gay couples all the time. Well-adjusted, happy, contributing members of society.
Brilliant.
And just that started to gnaw away at that doubt that was a good life for me.
Yeah.
Right? And so, maybe it wouldn't suck to be gay. Maybe having a boyfriend would be okay, because there were all of these examples that I got to experience in at work or friends or whatever. And eventually, she cheated on me with a dude from her work, so I cheated on her with a dude from my work. And I came out, and I was 29 when that happened. And then that ultimately led to our divorce, although it took quite a while because she thought she was going to fix me. But then,
who is she? Coldplay.
Yeah.
Coldplay.
I was actually still married to her when I met my now ex-husband, and we were together for 8 years. We've been apart for 2. I'm 40 now, and been single for 2 years. The divorce has been final for a year and a half or whatever. Yeah, that's me. I don't know. Did I cover all the things? I feel like I talked a lot.
Yeah.
Did I meander?
Are you ready to fuck? You ready to get back on that dildo?
I don't.
Where are you at right now?
I have a weird relationship with sex. We talk about this on our show a lot. For me, it is. I have a really difficult time having it be a casual thing.
I can understand that.
This is something where Mike doesn't fit the stereotype, and I think often doesn't, like, then when, even with all our gay friends where everyone's like, oh, I fucked that guy, like, I feel like Mike always feels a little bit like that means he's not right as a gay person. That's part of the reason for discussing those stereotypes is it's okay to be different about sex 100%. And not fit that gay.
Well, it's almost like a demisexual sort of situation. You sleep with people that you're more attracted to in only people that you're attracted to in a romantic sort of way, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that a way?
Well, so it's interesting. Kyle, very recently, anybody who listens to our show that ends up hearing this, you're going to get a sneak preview because we're for sure going to do a whole episode about this. We're just going to have to.
You shouldn't label other people. You should let them self-identify, except if you're me and Mike, because I have labeled Mike as demisexual, even though he does not identify with that.
But what we haven't really talked about too much is I don't think I'm demisexual because the stuff that I've read about demisexuals is mostly that the sexual desire doesn't happen until there is connection. I don't feel that. I will go to a bar and be like, yeah, that's hot. I want to fuck that. Yeah, he's hot. I want to fuck that. That is a
right.
That happens for me. There is libido. There's sexual desire there before I even fucking know the person.
Okay, yeah. So that is a little bit different to what I would consider demisexual, but I guess there's not really a, for lack of a better term, label that would suit that though.
Right.
So
no, I agree.
It makes it quite difficult.
Agree. What I'm coming to terms with is I have a trauma response to sex, and I have no sexual trauma in my history, that at least none that I'm aware of.
Right.
But I very quickly I like if conditions aren't what.
You've talked about the first time you've talked about like sexual trauma that you've had, not like, you know, you talk about in therapy big T and little T trauma. Like you've had little T trauma, like the first time you hooked up with someone and you've had a bad experience with a hookup at an airport that we talked about. Like you have had traumatic sexual experiences.
That's true. You're not wrong about that.
The best I can get from Mike is you're not wrong. That's the best I can expect, and I'm okay with that.
And
I say that a lot too.
for reasons I don't quite have triangulated yet. The wheels will fall off the bus very quickly for me in a sexual encounter, and then I am not having fun. I dissociate. I have a hard time staying in it. I have a hard time staying hard.
Staying in it, literally.
I just it's everything I can do just to get through it because I start to panic and it's not fun. And the not funness of that makes me avoid sex, even though I very much want it or think I do.
No, well, that makes sense. If you know that you're not going to there's a high likelihood that you're not going to have fun doing it, then you're probably not going to do it.
Right.
And it's as simple as that, really, at the end of the day. But it's interesting that you notice that these things happen while you're in the action of having sex. I've had similar things myself.
Yeah.
Where it's something just shuts off and you're just like, nope.
Like,
and I've literally stopped it at that point and said, I can't do this. There is no point in me continuing with this.
Yeah. I was curious, Mike, have you ever, when that's happened, said that to the person like, oh, okay, this is the end of it. Sorry, Dunskies. I mean, you probably don't have to apologize, but just like, all right, that's the end of this. Or do you just? I
would probably apologize.
Oh, okay,
I've apologized before for it because it. Sorry to interrupt with that.
No, you're great.
Because
it's your show.
It's the difficult part for me is trying to convince the person that I'm with that it has nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
that is the most difficult part of that situation. Because as humans, that's what we do, is we go, something's happened, what have I done?
Yeah.
It's not what has happened or why has this happened, it's what have I done to make this happen.
We have Hollywood to thank for fucking up the phrase, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
Like, that immediately sounds untrue because of all of these memes or whatever, but like, sometimes it's true.
Yeah,
like, it should be okay to say it.
Absolutely. And it's difficult to try and explain because you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like you said, you sit there and you can't see any big trauma or anything like that in there. So you can't sit there and go, this is why this has happened.
Right.
And you sit there and go, it's not your fault, but I can't explain why it's not.
Yeah.
I can't explain why. Oh, I can explain why it's not, but I can't explain why it happened.
Yeah.
Which makes it really, really difficult.
Yep. It really does. And it's awkward. And
super, super awkward.
Yeah.
You're there putting your clothes on.
Yeah. Well, so I don't think I've ever like completely shut it down, but I have said, look, this isn't working for me, but I would like to do whatever we can to get you off, because like that's out of like feeling bad. Right?
I've done that more often than not as well, because I get off more than anything with my partner getting off. That just one of the hottest things for me. So I, more than penetration, I'll use my fingers in my mouth more than penetration any day of the week. It's the penetration part that fucks me up.
Yeah.
So often. But a lot of the time it doesn't matter because they're still getting off. If women, usually more than once. I'm going to toot my own horn there.
Yeah.
Good for you and them.
Yeah. And guys as well. Just, at least they get... that my thought is at least they're getting something out of it.
Yeah.
It might not be the complete work that they wanted, but at least they're still not leaving unsatisfied. The other part of that I always introduce is that you don't have to orgasm to enjoy sex.
That's right.
Because I can enjoy everything that happened up to that point. Every single minute of that. But once it hits that point, then I'm done. I said, it was really, really awesome, but I just couldn't go further.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm going to try not to cry. This is one thing that Trevor, my ex-husband, was really, really good at.
Right.
That's one thing that I'm worried that I'll never find again, is somebody that super understands that and is okay with that.
Yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Not easy to find that at all. And it takes a serious amount of emotional maturity on both parts to get to that point.
Yeah.
And just accept that, okay, that happened. Might happen next time, it might not. Let's just see what happens. Or, and I've never come across this, how can I help you get past this? If somebody said that to me, I'd be like, fucking marry me now. Like, you know what I mean? Because they're not just sitting there going, it's okay, it happened.
Yeah.
They're sitting there and they're going, I want to help you through and help figure this thing out. And you sit there at that point and you just go,
I feel like part of the understanding and not being mad and just kind of going with it, that to me is part of the solution, because at least for me, anxiety is always a big part of like, if I can't get hard anymore or something's like not working, a lot of it has to do with anxiety. So if I know there's no pressure and that person is like, hey, if that stops happening or doesn't happen, that's cool. We're going to keep doing other fun shit and that's great. Like, that actually helps me get through it a lot more. Having that pressure.
I have a bit of a, if I know that I'm going to take somebody home at some point, I tend to tell them that it's very difficult to get me to come, for me to ejaculate. And that just gives them warning that it's not going to be their fault if I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody else does that, but for me, it makes it a lot less stress on me. There's a lot less stress on them because they don't feel like they have to sit there and jerk me off for fucking 45 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I guess from that point.
I'm not sure what it's like for straight people, and part of the
Neither.
problem. But part of the problem for me with gay people, like talking to other gay men, is it seems like hard enough just to get people to commit and come over, much less with the caveat that, and I might not come, right? Like, it seems like that's just...
Oh, no,
like
I make sure they come. There's no two ways about that. It's just me that might not. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that. I don't know. I just put it down to my natural charm, I guess. I can talk pretty well, which is a big bonus, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very choosy with my people anyway. So if I choose somebody, I sound like the biggest egotist. It's like you, but no. If I find somebody that I like and get to know them and things like that, then even actually just even one night stands is just one of those things where I have to be comfortable with that person, and 100% comfortable, and there has to be that flowing conversation. There has to be that je ne sais quoi sort of part of it. And once you've got to that point where you both know it's going to happen, because you do, there's a point where both parties sit there and go, this is happening now. That's when I bring it out. And if they turn it down from that point, then that's up to them. It's not up to me to sit there and go, no, we both want this. You have to come around now. No.
But how do you know you have self-worth if they turn you down? I'm kidding.
Hashtag gay love. That's so weird. I don't have to be totally comfortable with someone to like hook up. And sometimes like when you're doing like a hookup and
it depends how long it's been actually.
That's
if it's been a while, then
it's like sometimes it's like they're like talking to you like, what do you do for work? And you're like, do you really want to do this, or can we just fuck? Like, do we have to pretend like we want to get to know each other, or like?
I hate small talk. Right? I hate. How's your day? You know, weather's nice. But like, that doesn't tell me anything about you.
Yeah.
It's not me telling you anything about me. Yeah. What somebody does for a job has more often than not very, very little with who they are as a person and what excites them and what gets their motors running and that sort of thing. So. One of my favorite questions to ask somebody who I'm getting to know, not at a bar or anything, this is just like potential dating situation sort of thing, is if I had to know one thing about you, what would it be? If I had to know one thing about you, what would it be? And that gets right inside who they are as a person and starts pulling all of this stuff out. And that's when you truly get to know a person from that point. That's my little tidbit, one of my favorite things to do.
Man, that...
And the other part of that is they know what's happening at that point as well. They know that I actually want to get to know them, not just want to be somebody that's, you know, a plate of rice next to a big steak or whatever.
Man, if someone asked me that, I would be like, I gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm terrified.
I was just gonna say that.
See, no, this is not in a bar situation. I have to be clear on that. It's not somebody that I've just met you today. I wouldn't ask you that.
Okay.
That sort of thing. This is somebody that I've been talking a little bit with.
Okay.
Or been introduced to by a friend or something like that, and you sort of go through your periods of, you know, who they are, the general sort of chit chat stuff. But I tend to stay clear as much. Like questions like what are you passionate about and stuff like that, I think are decent questions because it's still light and fluffy, but you can still get to know and find that point of not contention, the opposite of contention. You know, that point where both of you have a subject that you're both passionate about, and then you can just talk about that for ages and ages and ages, and that's when you really get to go through with somebody, in my opinion, anyway.
Man. I have a friend that...
We've gone deep.
Just like I like it. I have a friend who loves first dates, and I don't get it. And he sounds a lot like you. Have like he has these questions that helps him like really like get past the you know, where are you from, and the awkwardness, and like really understand and get into some interesting conversations. And I'm the opposite. I need time to like work up and get to know someone before I like get really into that. So like on the first date, I'm not ready for you to understand the true inside and out of me.
You also want to be cracked open like a mystery egg, like part of like creating a situation.
You don't know me.
I do.
Yeah, I know you do.
I mean, the idea that you could very quickly be just opened up with a question is antithetical to who you are.
Yeah,
like that's just not how you're wired.
I'm like the pretty shy girl at the like school dance that no one that then someone's gonna find me and see me and open me up and yeah.
Well, like like the ugly duckling in every teen movie ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
But someday you're gonna take off your glasses off and let your hair down
and discover my painting. You know,
are we talking about not another teen movie?
I think so. Yes. I'm actually just describing that.
Yeah, a lot.
Movie. shot for
Such
shot.
a funny film. I watched it with the director's notes, and they just pop up in the screen. They don't talk over it or anything,
that's cool.
which is great because you can actually still follow what the fuck's happening.
Yeah.
And it was saying like all of the other ugly chicks that turn hot, all of the other mean girls, all of the other sexually frustrated, teenage boys and that sort of thing, and it's fucking hilarious.
I love that.
Gives you all of the direct references
Yeah.
from what they're going from.
And,
And that actually made that film even funnier for me because I was sitting there, oh yeah.
Yeah. They knew what they were
fucking
doing.
clever.
When yeah.
But it's been so overdone to shit now.
Yeah.
Like there's been 18 scary movies. There's been like epic movie. There's been so much of it, and you're just like,
Yeah.
And I'm actually annoyed in general at the way that movies go because they're just remaking and doing sequels and stuff now. No one has anything original.
I know. It's like, and at the same time, when a lot of people are frustrated by that, and then also do the same, they're like, "Oh, but Ghostbusters is back," and like so.
I will admit, I did go and see Lion King.
Oh,
Did
okay.
you?
Yeah, I did go and see Lion King. Lion King is my 100% jam. I will sing my ass off through the entire goddamn thing.
And that's what they're kind of like. They know
it's in my road trip playlist. The whole soundtrack.
Oh, do you want to give us like a full number right
Nope.
now? Okay. Oh, okay. You did karaoke earlier, so
that was country music with a nice low register. It was fine.
That's true.
My voice has been stuffed the whole time I've been in the US. I cannot hit high notes for the shit of me at the moment. It sucks so bad.
I had 2 cassette tapes growing up, and one of them was Lion King, and the other was Mariah Carey. Oh. Who knew I was gay? It was the Good album. What, like with Fantasy and
Good album?
One Sweet Day.
Mariah Carey?
Hey. Hey.
I may have said that just to get a rise.
I did. It worked. It worked. The one with who I don't know. Do neither of you know what the name of the album? I think it's called One Sweet Day.
Would not have a clue.
If the category is name a Mariah Carey album, I'm fucking out. Like zero.
100%.
Does she have a self-titled one? Probably. Let's go with that.
No, it's not. It's I think it was One Sweet Day. Anyway, it was
Mine was Backstreet Boys. Backstreet's back.
I love that
100%.
album. My
great album.
My growing up, my parents. I wanted a guitar. They gave me a guitar, and my dad told me that my mom, or they were at the guitar music shop getting the guitar, and the guy was like, "Okay, let's get you some books so he can start learning some music, and what kind of music does he like?" And my mom said Backstreet Boys, and my dad was I can tell he was embarrassed. He didn't say he was embarrassed, but I could tell he was embarrassed by that. So he came in and tried to say other things like Blink-182 to try to correct that it was weird that I liked.
Funny you say Blink-182. I'm seeing them tomorrow night.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing them tomorrow night.
Oh, no way.
But I'm so confused that they're playing with Lil Wayne.
They're really?
Lil Wayne, yeah.
Huh.
Blink-182 and Lil Wayne is the concert.
What's the venue?
I should probably know that.
I mean, you're going to go there. Okay.
I only find out where I'm going.
I've got it in my phone somewhere. So
the album is Daydream.
Daydream. Okay.
And Fantasy was on it. Great song. One Sweet Day is on it. Great song. Always Be My Baby. Great. That's a good album.
Yeah.
I would listen to that.
That's what I said. You should believe me the first time.
Okay.
I wouldn't listen to it.
It's fine.
Mariah's just never been my thing.
She got a little crazy, which is fine.
Didn't most pop stars?
I mean, that's
point?
kind of part of the step.
There's kind of a decent line of them that have done so.
Yeah, but Lindsay Lohan's back.
Is she?
Hilary Duff is back.
Yeah.
We're just having a resurgence.
She's doing a whole new Lizzie McGuire thing.
I don't think Hilary Duff ever went crazy though. I don't think she
had
had
her
her breakdown. Yeah, she just.
Oh no, I think she did.
Oh, she did.
I think she did.
It wasn't.
I think it was a drugs thing.
Oh,
from memory.
That makes sense. It's either drugs or dehydration. Those are the two options you have.
Or just cut your hair off for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Britney.
Christina Aguilera had a slutty phase with the whole dirty thing.
Yep.
Still one of the hottest video clips I've ever seen in my life.
In the boxing ring.
Yeah.
What was that Shakira video when she was wrestling in oil?
Oh,
Hips don't. No,
it wasn't Hips Don't
before.
Lie.
It was after that. It was
No, I'm certain it was after. Hips Don't Lie was her first big one.
Yeah.
It was.
But I was like,
My breasts are small like mountains.
Small like mountains. Small and humble so you don't confuse them with mountains.
I was pretty much there. Isn't that the song you're talking about?
that's Hips Don't Lie. It's not that one.
Oh, are you talking about La Tortura? Yeah. Where she was like in the like black
She's
grease?
Like air humping with grease all over her.
I mean,
like,
that could be any music video of hers. That's kind of her shtick. Like, I'm going to get dirty and hump the ground or whatever.
It's basically I'm going to move my hips around.
Yeah. She knows what she's got.
Yeah.
She gets it.
I mean, she's lucky that her breast size is small and humble.
So you don't confuse them. Yeah.
Goodness.
So... Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that sound a lot. Yeah. So, 29, a lot of people nowadays would consider that relatively late on in life.
I would, yeah.
Even then, did you think of it at that point? Was it a late time to...
So, I don't talk about this that much. And
Yes.
I, in part, left my wife on November 7th, 2008. Because I was going to be turning 30 and I wasn't going to enter my 30s still
lying,
married and straight and lying.
Yeah.
So there was very much a pressure there. And yeah, I was very aware of my age and wanting to do something about it.
And I guess at that age, did your parents have an inkling around this, or were you involved with your parents at all during all of this or anything like that? Or
so my parents were divorced and my dad remarried.
Catholic and divorced.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
there's certain rules you follow and certain
were they allowed to go back into the church?
No, my dad's Presbyterian now.
Brilliant.
His
got kicked out of one, I'll go to the other.
Yeah. Yep. But they found out that I was gay the same phone call they found out that I was getting a divorce. And it was it was mixed. My dad is a cop and skews conservative. I'm relatively certain he voted for Trump and just knows better than to tell me. And he had a hard time with it. He had a hard time with it at first. He forbade me to tell his parents, who were still with us at that point. They were super Catholic till the day they died.
Right.
But he was always he came around. It didn't take that long. He was always wonderful to my ex-husband. Came to the wedding, was always just kind. And my mom's family is interesting because they're all bar musicians, and I think that there's something about that environment that you get used to dealing with different kinds of people.
Yeah, I imagine so.
And you're exposed to a lot more. But also her uncle, so my grandmother's brother, was gay, and he and his partner died of AIDS in 1990. And
there's a stereotype right there, though. The gay uncle.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm proud to be a gay uncle now.
Good.
But that whole side of my family had a been there, done that sort of attitude about the whole thing. They'd gotten over their homophobia
that's quite nice.
25 years ago with this whole other situation. So he sort of blazed that trail for me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty thankful for that. I don't know, had I not had a gay great uncle that paved that path, how it would have gone.
Could have gone a completely different way.
Could have.
Yeah. But it's better not to think about that and just focus on what did happen, I guess, because it came out relatively positively.
Yeah, and that part was really easy. My brothers were both super chill about it. All of my fraternity brothers were super chill about it, which I did not expect. I was in a fraternity in college, and all of them were fine. So yeah.
Although from the stories you hear, there's some relatively homoerotic things that happen in frats as well.
Homoerotic is a good word. Yeah. We say on the podcast all the time, our show, we say, straight guys are so gay.
Straight guys are so gay. They're like, wouldn't it be funny if we made out? Like, oh, we're so straight. Like, yeah, I don't get it.
Not to mention the whole football locker room thing, hand egg locker room thing.
I don't get it. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me turned on. I don't understand.
There was a current NFL player that's just come out as bisexual as well, which is really, really cool. And there was a whole essay, and there was a picture of him and his boyfriend.
Yeah,
which was just. It shows that we have come a decent way, even from 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I thought it was really interesting that he was saying that he has lots of friends on lots of different teams that are just in the closet.
Yeah. And sports is a big area that
it's so macho.
It is, and
so
behind compared to. I mean, everywhere is generally progressing, but like sports is just so behind, and it's such a difficult place to come out that you know it sucks that we're having these like still the first person to come out as gay like after retiring, or the first person to do this. It's
I wonder if that goes in with the competitive side of things. You know, the amount of testosterone that's going through a male body, the competitiveness of it. You have to be a manly man to be a part of it.
And I think that speaks to the stereotypes of like being gay. Like you're not expected to be good at sports. Those are not two things that people assume go hand in hand.
Tell me that gymnastics is not a sport.
Oh my god,
that shit.
That's the one.
Fucking
figure skating and gymnastics are the two places gays can really thrive. But otherwise, you're not allowed to be gay. Also, male gymnasts. If we can just pause on that for a second,
I'm okay with
I
that.
have nothing to add. But what are we talking about?
Adam Rippon crushing your head with his thighs.
My God, he has thighs for miles or kilometers. Or whatever we're using. Stone, I don't know.
Probably weigh a couple of stone each.
I know. They would feel so good around my neck. What?
Anyway.
So I moved from Houston. Wherever we were.
Yeah, I can't remember where we were now either.
I mean, we have no out queer people in
That's right, sport.
NFL, NHL, MLB, NBA.
Yeah.
None of them.
It is telling that they feel like they can only come out after they have retired or whatever.
Yeah.
And
although this dude, I should know his name instead of just saying this dude. But this dude said,
I can't remember his name either.
You know, he's out as bi now and wants to get back into the NFL.
Oh, isn't he a free agent?
Yeah.
It's the only time I've cared if someone was a free agent.
Free agent.
Yeah.
No, you just use free agent in different terms.
Yes, this is a yeah.
You've cared about the words free agent before.
That's true. That's true. I'm a free agent.
Just not in regards to sports.
Yep. Exactly.
I think there's a few in football as well, like soccer football, what you would call soccer.
Well, Robbie Turner. What's his name?
We talked about him once, and then I forgot. But yeah, Robbie.
He plays for the UK.
One of the teams.
I don't know.
He kicks the ball.
Well, so one of the stereotypes is absolutely true. I give zero fucks about sports.
Yeah,
and
same.
Like that's
true for us.
True for us.
True for us. Not for everyone.
Not for everyone.
But our whole message is the only thing that makes you gay is having sex with people of the same gender. Like anything else is like you're doing it right. It's fine. Like don't feel excluded just because you're not into something that you quote unquote should be. And straight guys, if you're into RuPaul's Drag Race, more power to you. It doesn't make you not straight. Fucking do it.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is the whole macho thing again, and it's a term that's been thrown around a lot recently. Is the whole toxic masculinity thing, and it is a thing.
Yep.
I think it gets thrown around a little too much at times, but it is definitely a thing.
Yeah. When
you sit there and you're like, well, why can't a guy go and watch RuPaul's Drag Race or Queer Eye for the Straight Guy?
Yep.
And here's something that gets me. What straight guy, wouldn't want fashion tips? Girls like fashion.
Yep.
A lot of them. I'm generalizing here. But girls like the way that a guy looks. If they're aesthetically pleasing, they're wearing nice clothes.
Yeah.
It's straight away. It's an instant draw. Why, as a straight man who wants to get these ladies, why wouldn't you do some research into this sort of thing?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's silly what we just
and it also goes back to the competition side of things. Is nobody will admit it because even if they do go and do these things, they won't say that they're going to do it because they've got an edge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Got to keep it a secret. Too.
Yeah.
You did say something like it gets overused or it goes too far, something like that. Talking about toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
One thing I think that's interesting, at least in this country, the polarization of things. We end up in these liberal blue bubbles where we're like correcting each other on our pronouns and like really getting in each other's face about the minutia of the thing. When in Iowa, there are like trans people can't go to the bathroom. Like it changes the goalposts for when people start to correct each other or when people make a point of something.
Absolutely.
Because we sort of have the privilege and the luxury of of having those ideas be in play here.
Yeah.
Back home in Yakima County, no, I can't have a conversation about non-binary people.
Where?
Like Yakima.
Oh no, I went through there. Yeah.
but like it's just not. It's not a thing. Like talking about non-binary people or trans issues or even like
Hell, in some places, women's issues.
Yeah, exactly.
If we go back to Alabama again,
and then hopefully this isn't too far departed from what we're talking about. Like I worry about the Democrats like eating each other alive over which candidate to have because we can't all unify around the fact that
that's what happened
how about
last
anybody
election.
but him, right? Like,
that's what happened last election.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Hillary and Bernie.
Yeah.
And just for a record, I fucking love Bernie. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was the exact same thing last time around. And it almost actually happened to JFK, which is why he went to Dallas. We were talking about conspiracy theories before we jumped on the air. But he was there to fix a Democrat wall between two Democrats. And I feel as though that's similar to what happened last American election and what could happen again this time around. And it's fucking terrifying to think that there might be 4 more years of this orange fuckwit.
Yeah.
I'll probably get kicked out of the country and not allowed back after saying these things,
but like, would you really be missing out on anything?
I've enjoyed my time.
Oh, okay, good. I really think, unfortunately, he's going to get reelected. Like,
I think so.
Yeah.
There's too many people with IQs below 60.
America, I have the right to be dumb.
I passed a sign on the way in, a Trump 2020 sign,
sure
as I was coming in.
I
couldn't believe it.
I'm sure.
No, I think it was coming out of Yellowstone, so I might have still been in Montana.
Okay.
At that point, I can't remember.
I'm sure in my parents' neighborhood, there's plenty of Trump signs.
The days for me at the moment are just melting into each other.
Yeah. I mean, Eastern Washington is replete with Trump signs. Every time I drive to my dad's house, I know that there's going to be one. It's very common. And
unfortunately. Oh, wow. We've been on for a while,
huh? An hour and 38 minutes.
That's longer than I thought.
Yeah, we talked about anything good, or just throw this all away?
No, my editing process, and the people who listen to this know my editing process is nothing.
Okay, great.
It's click, drag, put in my intro, put in my outro, put in my music, done.
So what do I want to squeeze in here while I know you're not going to be cutting it? I don't know.
But yeah, so it has been 90 minutes, which is, I think, a good amount of time.
Yeah.
What I'll do now, you guys, I can't wait to say this as well. Go on and plug yourselves.
I already did.
So where can we find you on the internet? Where can we download the podcast? All that sort of thing.
Our website is gayishpodcast.com. We are at Gayish Podcast on all of our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook groups. And that's the easiest place to start. We're available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, tuned in. Like, you name the podcast app, we're there probably.
Just search for Gayish.
Funny story about that. I didn't realize I was on Stitcher until I got into America.
Sometimes they just like crawl stuff and then you show up places and you didn't. But that's cool.
So I did an interview with the Unicorn Report, and they told me like I listened to it on Stitcher. I'm like, what the fuck is Stitcher?
Yeah, there surprisingly it's more than Apple. Like there's so many different players that people have. We're on all of them,
or try to be.
What about iHeartRadio?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, we were.
Aren't they big and fancy and?
So are we? No, I don't know.
I'm not at all.
I think we're on there, but yeah, we're on there. I just had to,
because I listen to a fair few podcasts. I start work at 3:00 in the morning and it's soul charge, so it's just chuck on a podcast and away we go. And a fair few of the ones I listen to are iHeartRadio ones. The only problem that I have with them is they play the same ad twice in a row, about 3 times throughout the...
Oh, no.
Like, I heard Chelsea Handler's voice about 27 times in a 3-hour period one day, and I'm just sitting there going, I am never going to listen to that in my life. I'm dead with this.
I want to go drinking with her to see if I survive it.
Yeah.
I want to be friends
with
she's
gone through rehab, though.
Well, shit. Well, then I'll win. Yes!
But yeah, I'll just sat there and I hope that I don't become that person where I've got 17 ads throughout my podcast. But if I get offered money, I'm probably going to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Or some sort of... I'm going to put a shout out here for myself.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any sex stores or kink stores, especially kink stores, I'd love to get on board with them because that's my shit.
Yeah.
If any of those people listen, hit me up, please.
You should visit
I need
Doghouse
more
Leather
stores.
while you're here in Seattle.
Doghouse Leather.
Mhm.
I shall.
They're fantastic. They
Yeah.
just moved.
It's
They have
like-
a big old, brand new, big.
Oh, I haven't been to
space.
the new place.
Yeah.
But they're gayish. That's where I go if I'm going in person. If I'm not just ordering online, then I'll go there.
Yeah. And that's the problem with New Zealand. We got no good sex stores.
Wow.
We in the town that I live with, it's 400,000 people. That's our population.
Mm-hmm.
We have one sex store, and it's overpriced as fuck. Which it can be because there's no competition.
400,000 people. That's right on the edge of like may or may not be a gay bar. There is there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is, but a lot of straight girls go there, which is fun. For safety more than anything.
Probably haven't.
Which sometimes that brings in the creepy straight dude.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
But
I'm fine with straight girls being in gay bars as long as they're not in a cluster and wooing. Like, just don't scream and don't take up too much space.
That's screaming thing just in general, no matter where they are. My God.
And I'm also trying to be better about not making assumptions about people just because you're a female with blonde hair and kind of tall and come into a gay bar. Like, you could be a bi female, you could be a questioning female, you could be a lot of things. So yeah, as long as you are being respectful of the environment that's there, like, then you're cool.
Interesting thing on that as well, and I know I went and played you guys, and now we're not finishing it. But I'll do a little spiel at the end to remind everybody of it. It'll be fine. That's the other interesting part of being a bi guy, is quite often, and this is one of the biggest struggles that I have, is that quite often I'm not gay enough for gay men.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not straight enough for women.
Yeah.
That's even bi women. It's okay to be bi as a female. As a guy, no, I can't have anything to do with you. And I just sat there and went,
yeah.
What?
That's like those standards of masculinity that say that if you are bi, then like for some reason that makes you not as masculine, like, which doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I think like we have to always remind ourselves that, like, at Pride, everyone talks about like straight people at Pride. It's like, just because you see someone who looks to be a male and female couple, like, you don't know anything. They could be bi. They could be questioning. One person could be trans. Like,
even then though, I'm not against straight people at Pride, because they're still supporting the cause.
I'm the same way. And again, as long as they are respecting the space and not trying to like make it about them, as long as it's almost like your straight friends have to be like, they are there to be your helper. It is like, it is your birthday and they are there to get you drunk and laid. And like, that is your, if you're there, you're helping us and supporting us. And yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, it's just one of those things that even still now, I just sit there and go, well,
yeah,
fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
And literally you just sit there and go, well, if you're not okay with that, then you're uglier than I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an unfortunate way to have to rule out people, but
there's got to be a way.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we're all sweet. We're all done.
Yeah.
All right.
We're all good.
Cool.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been really awesome. Once again, gayishpodcast.com.
Yep.
Right. And Gayish Podcast at Gayish Podcast on all the socials.
Yeah.
Plenty on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever the hell.
yeah,
Basically, anywhere you can find podcasts.
Exactly.
Yep. Exactly
Awesome.
right. Exactly right.
Thank you so much once again.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
us.
having us.
Awesome.
I ache for the touch of your lips, dear, but much more for the touch of your whips, dear. You can raise welts like nobody else as we dance to the masochism tango. Say our love is a flame, not an ember. Say it's me that you want to dismember. Blacken my eye, set fire to my tie as we dance to the masochism tango. At your command, before you here I stand. My heart is in my hand. Yeah. It's here that I must be. My heart entreats. Just hear those savage beats, and go put on your cleats and come and trample me. Your heart is hard as stone or mahogany. That's why I'm in such exquisite agony. My soul is on fire. It's aflame with desire, which is why I perspire when we tango. You caught my nose in your left castanet, love. I can feel the pain yet, love, every time I hear drums. And I envy the rose that you held in your teeth, love, with the thorns underneath, love, sticking into your gums. Your eyes cast a spell that bewitches. The last time I needed 20 stitches to sew up the gash you made with your lash as we dance to the masochism tango. Bash in my brain and make me scream with pain, then kick me once again and say we'll never part. I know too well I'm underneath your spell, so darling, if you smell something burning, it's my heart. Won't you take your cigarette from its holder and burn your initials in my shoulder? Fracture my spine and swear that you're mine as we dance to the masochism tango.